Part 98. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 975. Looking at the approaching command ship, Enterprise and Musashi had a smile on their faces, not to mention Prince Eugen beside them. When Bismarck accepted Qin-Ji's order and prepared to leave the port area, everyone in Hawaii had already received the relevant order. In the past, several camps were fighting on their own. Although they also cooperated with each other, there were still relatively few areas for cooperation. They only cooperated between the teams at the intersection of the areas responsible for several parties and the areas the other party was responsible for. And there is almost no large-scale cooperation. This time Qin-Ji's order was very simple, that is, all camps should be integrated and then prepare to start a strategy in the core waters of the Pacific Ocean. Although the leaders of several camps have their own ideas about who will be the flagship of this general offensive. But in the end, we still have to refer to Qin-Ji's implementation policy. This is the final decision. Regarding this matter, there was a meeting before, and the process of the meeting was naturally very clear to several senior officials. And Bismarck went to Hawaii, which was of course the result of the conference. As the command ship gradually docked at the port, everyone rushed to greet it. In fact, the leaders of several camps came to greet it, while the workers stood still and waited. The first one to step out of the cabin was Bumblebee, holding his hat with his hands while looking at Enterprise, whose face showed surprise. "Hey, Sister Enterprise, can you still recognize me?" The company put away the surprise on its face and showed a smile. "Although your outfit looks very different, it is still so familiar. Although I received your communication, I still see your familiar appearance. It's great to stand in front of me. So where is Sister York City?" "Hee, isn't this coming?" Bumblebee smiled and jumped off the side of the ship, then looked up, and sure enough, he saw York City and Heyman appearing at the hatch. Sister York City, Enterprise was stunned because she found that York City had hardly changed. "Hee, how does it look?" York City smiled. "Well, it feels like the ship's attire has changed, but the person is still the same person. But the power surging in Sister York City's body seems a bit strong now," Enterprise said in surprise. "The ship modification is really amazing. York City should be a maritime legend now, right? It can achieve a leap between two levels. It seems that the commander invested most of his scientific research efforts into this research project, which was a very correct thing to do." Choice Musashi exclaimed. "Ms. Musashi really has a good eye. And it's not just me. Santiago, including your Kongsakura-san Yutaki, has also evolved into a legendary level battleship on the sea. During this transformation York City disembarked gracefully. A lot." He walked down the ramp and came to the side of everyone and said with a smile. More and more people walked off the command ship, until finally everyone followed Bismarck and walked off the command ship, and there were completely no people on the command ship. "Long time no see," Bismarck, Musashi and others welcomed Bismarck's arrival. "Thank you, but it can't be said that we haven't seen each other for a long time. At least we have been in contact, and haven't we met at meetings before?" Bismarck said with a smile. "That's true, but it's still amazing to feel your breath at such a close range. Although the commander deliberately concealed it, the power in you is really similar to that of the flying dragons next to you. So what are you doing now?" "Is it a ship or a meta?" Musashi asked doubtfully. Regarding Bismarck's transformation, Qin-Ji only said a few words in the communication, but it was different from York City and their transformation, but a more dangerous transformation, which made Musashi and others more interested. This can be regarded as picking grains from the fire. Although it has gained relatively strong power, there are also some hidden dangers. However, these hidden dangers are currently under control. "In short, we will discuss the detailed situation later," Bismarck said to several people, "and this time, I also brought the commander's instructions." "Understood." From the moment the commander confirmed your arrival, We have been waiting. Everything is ready and we can start a new round of battle at any time. Enterprise nodded. If that's the case, that would be great. Bismarck nodded. We also welcome the companions of Ember. With you here, we feel much more at ease. Enterprise said with a smile. We are also following the commander's orders, and we also look forward to fighting side by side with you. Although the Arbiters are already our old opponents, there will definitely be a different ending this time. Long nodded. We think so too, and this time the whole world is on our side, and we will definitely win the final victory. Musashi said with a smile. But is the strength on the commander's side sufficient? A lot of strength has been sent here this time. According to what I know, most of the main forces in our port area are already here. Richelieu asked doubtfully. Not to mention Richelieu, I haven't noticed yet. Apart from the royal family, the only remaining forces on that side are Dong Huang and Northern United. Isn't the commander giving this side too much power? Enterprise was stunned. One time. Yes, your feeling is not wrong, and what the commander means this time is to let us use our strength advantage to forcefully break through the encirclement. Because both sides launch an attack at the same time, the Sirens are bound to send out forces to block it. If both sides send out the same force, then our side is the one with the advantage in strength. If we have more commanders here and fewer commanders there, then a relative balance of power will be maintained. The best plan in the commander's mind is for the other side to send enough fleets to attack his side, so that our side will be at an absolute advantage. As long as the commander persists long enough, we can enter the Sirens' core sea area first. At that time, it will be time to implement a clear goal. Bismarck said. But doing this will put the commander in a passive state. If he cannot hold on, the impact will be. The company did not continue. Everyone present knew what such a decision meant. Bismarck, haven't you persuaded the commander? We would rather his side maintain the advantage than ours. Musashi frowned. I don't think the commander's decision was wrong, and he made this decision after considering the overall situation. This time the battle will be unsuccessful, and we have no room to retreat. This is a decisive battle with the power of the world on the line. If we lose this battle, then where can we hide? Therefore, the commander and I both know that we must win this battle, and we must win. Bismarck said calmly. Understood. My ship girl, my world. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 976. Looking at Belfast's careful arrangement in the mirror, Qin Ji smiled and said, such a scene is very familiar. I remember that every time I went on an attack, you would help me tidy up carefully like this. If possible, I hope that I will stay at the last time I arranged for the master to go on the expedition. And master, this time it is too dangerous. Have you really decided to go to the front line with everyone? Belfast's voice, there was a rare hint of worry. Obviously, Belfast also knows about the distribution of power this time, and also knows Qin Ji's intentions. It's just that as a personal maid and Qin Ji's wedding ship, I don't want Qin Ji to take such a big risk. But this time is a battle for the entire territory of Hong Kong. As the commander, I should fight on the front line with you, instead of waiting for reports of your battle every day. It's not that I don't trust you, or that I have to show off, but this time it's about the fate of the world, so I hope you can understand. Qin Ji said. Really, the master has said that, what should I say? Belfast said helplessly. In fact, she also knew that her advice would not have any effect. She knew Qin Ji's temperament very well. Once he made a decision, he would never change it, and especially the decision at such a critical moment, he carried out this character to the fullest. Haha, I'm afraid the person who knows me best in this port area is you. Sometimes I even feel that my understanding of me is not even as good as yours. Qin Ji smiled, don't say such things again. And with you all by my side, as well as Yan Yan and the others, under the protection of such power, I am absolutely at ease. Don't worry, everything will be fine. Yes. For Qin Ji, in fact, he relied on more than just this. During the conversation with that person, he had already been spoiled. Therefore, his understanding of the results of this experiment was the reason why he made such a bold decision. Moreover, Ember can deal with the arbitration organization for such a long time, so the power of a single person may not be as good as theirs, but if he is killed by the enemy in the midst of thousands of troops, it is absolutely impossible. After getting dressed, the two walked towards the port along the cement road in the port area without seeing anyone along the way. This time, basically all the available forces in the port area were used. Except for the people in charge of the logistics and laboratories in the port area, all the forces have been assembled. The two of them did not delay. When they arrived at the port, they could already hear everyone's voices. However, as Qin Ji approached, the sounds became smaller and smaller until they disappeared. There was only the sound of waves constantly lapping at the port, which proved that this space was not subject to mute magic. Is everyone here? Qin Ji walked forward with a smile and asked Elizabeth, Yuxian, Soviet Rosia, and Helena who were standing at the front. Report to the commander, all combatants in the port area are here, please give instructions, Soviet Rosia said to Qin Ji. Yes, Qin Ji nodded, and then looked at where everyone was. Is this the first time that everyone from the royal family, Donghuang, and the north have gathered so many people together during the festival, right? I believe you all already know the direction of our next strategy. This time, the power ratio on our side will be weaker, and we may face more pressure, and may even face all the arbiters. Are you afraid? No. Everyone responded in unison. Although their voices were delicate, they revealed great determination. Very good, I believe in you, and I also believe in White Eagle, Iron Blood, and Chong Sakura who are far away on the other side. This battle is not just a battle for our port area, nor is it just the clearing we have done before. Battles in the sea. This time the battle is to enter the core area of the Pacific Ocean, free the entire Pacific Ocean from the hands of the three men, and return this ocean to the control of mankind. In addition to our port area, ship girls from other camps also extended a helping hand to us. They have almost gathered the strongest forces in their camp to complete this world-famous battle. Therefore, this time we can only win but not lose, because we only have this one chance. Therefore, I hope that everyone will fight bravely on the battlefield in the future, fulfill the orders of their respective team captains and group flagships, and achieve maximum combat results while protecting themselves. And I will be with you. Warm applause spread quickly from where everyone was. Qin Ji couldn't help but smile when he saw everyone's sincere smiles. Although he had a lot to say at this moment, after much deliberation, he only said it this time. Combat purpose. But at least, this time he was following everyone. The applause lasted for a long time and then gradually stopped. Finally, Qin Ji said to everyone, now let's get on the ship and set off. Yes. Since most of the time this time was spent fighting, there were not many command ships equipped. Including Qin Ji's command ship, there were only 4 or 5. Battleships like the Prince of Wales had already deployed their hulls on the sea early and allowed their team members to board them. Therefore, the entire fleet looks very large. Surrounded by a group of destroyers, cruisers, battleships, and aircraft carriers, the command ship where Qin Ji is located is tightly surrounded by it, which can be said to be quite safe. As the entire fleet sailed not far from the port, a fleet from Donghuang, Chongqing and Northern United also joined them, and the group of people sailed towards the core waters of the distant Pacific Ocean in a mighty manner. Dreamweaver, their deployment is in place, and everyone has started from the polar regions and port areas, heading towards the core area where we are. However, there is an interesting phenomenon, that is, the fleet where Commander Qin Ji is located is far weaker than the fleet that came from Hawaii. The observer turned to the Dreamweaver beside him and said, Where is the ember power around him? Dreamweaver asked softly. Most of them are royal embers. Of course, his side is stronger overall, the observer replied. Start taking action according to the original plan, Dreamweaver said softly. Hee, do you want to let go of this excellent opportunity? If you send out all the arbiters now, you can completely suppress or even destroy his fleet. In this way, the other fleet with a stronger force will be out of reach and can only be defeated. We eat it bit by bit, the observer said with a smile. No need. According to the current situation, passing the Laplace demon counts. No matter which method is adopted, the result will be the same, so just follow the original plan. Clear. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 977. In the command ship, Qin Ji looked at the sea-sand table in front of him, his brows relaxing from time to time and frowning from time to time. Obviously, the progress of the entire battle was not as smooth as expected. Tisk, the defense system in the Siren's core sea area has improved exponentially. Fortunately, I have calmed down for such a period of time and made all preparations for the strategy. Otherwise, if I continued to fight with the momentum of victory, I would definitely fall into the trap. Here. Seeing the changing situation, Qin Ji said with a sigh. Haha, in fact, it is conceivable that the situation is close to the core sea area of the Siren, and the resistance encountered will definitely be much stronger than before. However, it seems that we still underestimated the Siren. According to the current trend in the core waters of the Pacific Ocean, is this pulling all the Siren ships on this planet over? Even Genhai, who is usually very calm, couldn't help but frown when he saw this situation. It's not possible, but it is indeed the case. Helena, the ember on the side, was leaning on the hatch, looking at the smoke rising in the distance and said, "We have explored the waters of the Atlantic Ocean before and found that there were no more Sirens, so I told the commander to withdraw the defense team that supported that camp and seek support there. That's not a wild shot, it's a real situation. It turns out that since that time, the Sirens have been gathering troops in the core waters of the Pacific Ocean." Helena, why didn't you tell me clearly at that time? Qin Ji asked doubtfully. Haha, because telling the commander at that time or not telling the commander later will have the same result. And if you knew such information at that time, your decision to attack the Pacific Ocean might be shaken. But this is also our only chance to break through the Pacific Ocean in one fell swoop and eliminate the Sirens from this planet. Isn't it? Helena smiled. Qin Ji touched his nose. It was indeed as Helena said. If she really told Qin Ji at that time that the Sirens were about to gather all their forces and deploy them in the core area of the Pacific, then there would indeed be some strategies for the core area of the Pacific. Wavering, at least not as firm as now. Okay, there's no need to mention what happened before. So Helena, do you have any thoughts about the current situation? Qin Ji asked. Ideas, Helena smiled. Judging from the reports sent back now, everything is progressing smoothly, which proves that the commander's strategy is clear and feasible. Do you still need to ask me what I think? Isn't this progress a bit slow? Qin Ji said. Helena's expression suddenly became a little helpless. Commander, it only took 4 or 5 days to gain a foothold on the enemy's first line of defense, and is expanding its advantage. Why do I feel slow in your eyes, Woolen Cloth? I suddenly want to ask, how long do you think it will take to break through all the enemy's defense lines and get to the core to meet your expectations? Ahem, I expect to complete all the battles within 2 months. Qin Ji coughed. Haha, you are really. Helena smiled bitterly. The antiques you met before were indeed very easy, but from now on, they will reveal their true colors, so don't underestimate the enemy. You know, the real battle has just begun now. I think Miss Helena is right. This can be felt from entering the sea. The number of executors and agents has increased, and the overall strength of the Siren mass-produced ships has improved. Compared with the previous Siren launch, the forces used by each camp to launch raids are much more powerful. You have to know that our current port area is not the port area at that time, but the battle with the Sirens has remained at the same level as before, so it can be clearly said that we are indeed facing an unprecedented battle now. Genhai nodded. Qin Ge nodded. I feel the same way, but I think this is a normal phenomenon in the Siren Core Sea area. But if Helena thinks so too, then we must advance steadily step by step. We have plenty of time, but we have no room for error, so if you have any suggestions or comments, please let me know at any time in the future. Of course, I will tell the commander everything I know, and I will also protect the commander well. This time, we will definitely win, Helena said firmly. At the same time, in another sea area. Do you feel it? Although our overall strength has been strengthened, the strength of the Sirens on the opposite side is not weak. It seems that the sea area in the core area is not as easy to break through as we imagined, Bismarck said while looking at the several camp leaders in front of him. Indeed, and this is without the Arbiter being dispatched. Now our progress is not as smooth as it was at the beginning, the company nodded. So what do you think about Bismarck's next move? Musashi asked. I think it was due to our previous strategic mistakes. We previously thought that no matter how strong the mass-produced models in the Siren Sea were, they could only be upgraded to a higher level than the peripheral ones, but we didn't expect that they would be improved so much all at once, causing our current strategy to slow down. I think we should concentrate our efforts now. During the patrol and exploration process of the U-boats, we discovered that there is a unique Siren fortress at position E deep in the sea. That Siren fortress connects the surrounding data. A Siren stronghold. As Bismarck spoke, he pointed his finger at a location on the chart. Currently our frontline strategy consumes a lot of money. If we want to maintain the speed of our strategy, we must have good logistical supplies and frontline positions. So I think our current goal should be to seize this Siren fortress, use this Siren fortress as the foundation, conduct a wide-scale cleanup, and use this Siren fortress as our base point for a period of time. Use this as a stepping stone to keep moving deeper. Are we going to establish an outpost now? Is it too early? Veneto asked. Bismarck looked at the chart and shook his head. It's not too early. It's so difficult to break through the first line of defense. Think about it, how much resistance will we encounter if we continue to go deeper? Only with sufficient logistical support can we support our continuous progress. Otherwise, if the Sirens make a surprise attack and trap us in the sea, how long can the supplies we bring last? Although the possibility of this happening is relatively small, the possibility cannot be ruled out. And you have also realized that this is not a battle that can end immediately, it will take a longer time. I agree, the current situation does seem to be like this, and we must be prepared to fight a tough battle, Richelieu said. I also agree that victory or defeat depends on this. We must act steadily, and no mistakes can be made at any point. The Enterprise nodded. Agree. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 978. I'm so envious of Javelin. I can stay with the commander and protect him. Lafitte also wants to protect the commander. Lafitte said boredly while traveling on the dark Red Sea. Z-23 looked back at Lafitte, with a look of helplessness on his face. I'm afraid Javelin is no longer with the commander now. She is probably the same as us now, and she is also working hard to explore the sea with everyone, and she is also fighting. It's alive. But, she is very close to the commander, but we are so far apart. Lafitte said weakly, and then looked at Ayanbo behind him. Ayanbo, what do you think? I feel the same, and the javelin is getting farther and farther away from the commander, but we are getting closer and closer to the commander, Ayanamai said calmly, with a light shining in his eyes. Lafite and Z-23 were stunned at the same time. Z-23 looked at Ayanamai in surprise. That's amazing. Why didn't I think of it? Ayanamai is so amazing. Lafite couldn't help but stand up straight. At this moment, a message came out from the public channel: attention, all teams, quickly return to the team's flagship. If you are in the middle of the battle, quickly escape from the battle. Several people were stunned for a moment, and Lafite asked doubtfully, we just came out not long ago, what happened again? Z-23 shook his head, I don't know, but this information comes from the public channel. It must be a message to all camps. It seems that the flagship has made big moves. Are you going to fight? Ayanamai tightened her grip on her sword. That's about it? Let's go back quickly, Z-23 said. At the same time, all ships located in Area E of the core waters of the Pacific Ocean all withdrew from combat status and moved closer to their respective squadron flagships. What happened, Bunker Hill? We were fighting just now, but the public communication sent a message to come back to your place to gather, Washington asked with a puzzled look. Bunker Hill glanced at Washington and said, don't worry, take a rest and wait until Ticonderoga and the others come back. Huh? Washington was speechless. It's not a bad thing to wait a little, and what happened this time is obviously very important, otherwise Bunker Hill wouldn't have said that. North Carolina smiled. All right. Not long after, Ticonderoga's team also returned successfully. Haha, I didn't expect us to be the last one. Everyone seems to be moving so fast. Ticonderoga stopped with a smile and looked at the people who had gathered. Everyone is here, then I will say it. Bunker Hill nodded and said to everyone, I received an order from the chief flagship before. In view of the fact that the strength of the Siren fleet in the core sea area has been greatly improved compared to before, in order to ensure that our later strategy goes smoothly, we must build a base suitable for supply in the EC area. After discussion among several flagships, it was determined that the Siren Fortress in the center of the EC area would be the target of the attack. Wait, that means that the flagships are planning to use Siren Fortress as our future supply point, North Carolina asked in surprise. Bunker Hill nodded, that Siren Fortress is the center of control of the entire sea area. We have to capture it no matter what. The previous goal was just to clear out the Siren stronghold next to it, and then we will prepare where to build its strategy, but now the target is concentrated there. Moreover, clearing the Siren Fortress can return the sea area to our control, and also protect our logistics supply lines from being disturbed by Siren, so this is necessary. Understood, just tell us what to do, I'm ready for a big fight, Washington said, gearing up, which made North Carolina laugh out loud. The mission of our team is to defend the left flank so that the main force does not need to be affected by other Siren fleets when attacking, Bunker Hill said. Huh? I thought our mission was to directly attack the enemy, but after a long time it turned out to be to defend the flanks. Such a mission is really overkill for us, right? Is this decision Bismarck's? Is she deliberately suppressing us, White Eagle? And hasn't she heard of our task force? Washington said with some dissatisfaction. I don't think we are suppressing our White Eagle, right? After all, this order was approved by the Enterprise. And I think that if we give up the surrounding strategy and still forcefully attack the core fortress, then the surrounding Siren fleet may use the strongest firepower to break through our defenses and ensure the safety of the Siren fortress, right? Therefore, if we talk about frontal firepower, I think the flanks of our defense are the places that are most suppressed by firepower and are also the places where the war breaks out the most tragically. Ticonderoga said. Huh? Is there such a thing? Ticonderoga's words made Washington calm down. She looked at Bunker Hill with disbelief, as if she was confirming something. Bunker Hill nodded, yes, This time the flank defenses are all strong units from each camp. In addition to our team, there are also special forces led by New Jersey, York City, Hornets, and Lexington Aircraft Carrier Group composed of others. Shiji Sakura also dispatched elite troops, including the Aircraft Carrier Group composed of Shinano Akagi and others, as well as the main fleet of Izumo, Ki, and others. The same goes for Iron-Blooded. Even sea legends like Ulrich and Egil are placed in flanking troops, so you must not think that flanking is an easy position. As Ticonderoga said, what the position you are in is the most dangerous position. Ha, this is really great. I thought Bismarck was going to deliberately suppress our White Eagle or something. It seems that I blamed her wrongly. As long as we are placed on the front line, no matter how dangerous the position is, our task force will nothing to fear. Washington laughed, his eyes full of confidence. Really, North Carolina looked at her sister and shook her head, but the war was about to begin, so she didn't say anything, just looked at Bunker Hill. Then when do we set off? Now. Now. Are you in such a hurry? Ziwihi looked at Shinano in surprise. Yes, this is the decision of the flagships, Shinano said softly. I do understand them. We now belong to the core sea area of the Sirens. They may be watching us all the time. We cannot carry out our plans slowly as before, but we must cut through the mess quickly and carry out unexpected attacks. Obviously, if we carry out a raid now, the defense of the Siren Fortress will definitely be much less than if we slowly take a roundabout way. Akagi nodded and said. Is that so? Ruhi reacted and tightened his grip on the long knife in his hand. Then let's go. Well, our combat position is. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 979. Looking up at the huge fortress approaching in front of him, Enterprise couldn't help but sigh. This fortress feels much more powerful than the Siren fortresses we came into contact with before. Musashi nodded. Not only does it feel powerful, but the pressure it emits is also much stronger than others. Bismarck, do you think there is an arbiter in this one? Your previous plan did not mention the arbiter at all, something that might happen. Bismarck, who was sitting next to a few people, narrowed his eyes as he looked at the fortress in front of him. Of course I have thought about it, but even if there is an arbiter inside, do we have to stop attacking? We know very little about the intelligence here, and especially when there may be an arbiter inside, sending intelligence personnel to understand such information is tantamount to alerting the enemy. So after thinking about it, it is better to attack directly. Even if there is an arbiter inside, then let's fight. We always have to face them head on, and blindly avoiding them is not the way to solve the problem. Haha, that's right, and it's not like we haven't faced them before. Even when they called us fakes at that time, we attacked them without hesitation, not to mention that now we have become ships should be fearless, Veneto said with a smile. Musashi rubbed his forehead. Having said that, the power of growing materials is indeed relatively powerful. At least we have to plan a way to defeat them reliably. If our attacking team suffers relatively large casualties because we have to defeat an arbiter, then it will be difficult for us to report to the commander. Don't worry, I have informed Fei Long about this matter. You did not see them this time. It is not because they did not participate in this operation, but because they are lurking in our team. As long as the arbitration, as soon as the predator appears, they will go up to contain it and create conditions for us. And we can use this period of time to completely gain control of this fortress. Bismarck said. Now that you have deployed it, we can rest assured. But for things like this, at least remember to inform us in the future, Musashi said with a smile. Bismarck nodded, without any hesitation, and agreed directly. Sorry, maybe I didn't behave like this when I was in Iron-Blooded before, so I ignored your feelings. I will pay attention to this in the future. Enterprise smiled and said, that's the best. At this moment, an urgent report came from the public channel. Reporting to the general flagship, a large number of Siren mass-produced fleets appeared in the direction of E3. Their target is the direction of the Siren fortress, and we are blocking them now. Copy that, use all your strength to intercept the enemies you see, Bismarck responded. Yes. Richelieu said softly, it's Jean Bart's voice. It seems that the Siren has discovered it. That also proves that our choice is right. As expected, we can feel the feeling of being monitored as soon as we enter the sea. Maybe our every move is under the surveillance of the Siren. Now it's time to prepare for the attack. No matter what's inside that fortress, we have to take it. Bismarck grabbed the brim of his hat and looked forward. Now that they knew that their actions had been discovered, the main fleet no longer kept any secrets, but sailed towards the fortress with all its strength. Soon, everyone discovered that a large number of executors and Siren mass-produced mixed fleets appeared at the entrance of the fortress. I would like to know, Bismarck, what kind of power did you gain after the ship modification? Until now, we have not seen any scenes of you exerting your power. How about letting you, as the general flagship, issue the initial battle call this time? Musashi smiled. Several people in the company also looked at Bismarck, and they were also very interested in the power Bismarck had after his transformation. Bismarck nodded, in that case, I won't be polite. As her voice fell, her whole person began to float above the sea. At this time, the Siren fleet on the opposite side had already launched an attack. Geryon. Boom. Explosions were heard one after another, but the expected shockwave did not come. Bismarck was seen floating above the sea and sky at this time, and beside her was a giant dragon with wings spread out. I only heard the roar of the giant dragon, spreading its wings and blocking all the bombardments of the Siren fleet, but it did not suffer any damage. Geryon? What exactly is this ship's outfit? Enterprise said in shock. This is really interesting. With such a powerful power, no wonder you have to pay a price to get it. Musashi's eyes flashed brightly. Why does this kind of ship outfit feel so much more powerful than August's dragon? Prince Eugen was also surprised. After all, this was the first time she had seen Bismarck like this. Yes, even though the ship attires of the ship girls that have appeared recently have become more and more exaggerated, such ship attires are really spectacular, Veneto exclaimed. Bismarck smiled at this time. Actually, to be honest, so far, my control over this ship suit is only superficial, but the power she releases is already much stronger than me before. I can feel it, but Bismarck, is your current ship uniform a defensive ship uniform? Richelieu asked doubtfully. After all, Bismarck is a very offensive person. If it is only a defensive ship uniform, it will not be possible at all. Not suitable for her style. Of course not. Bismarck watched his Geryon block another round of Siren's artillery fire, and then ordered to the dragon with its wings spread, Geryon, attack stance. Tear the enemy in front of you to pieces. Roar. After a ferocious roar, Geryon opened his wings that were tightly closed for protection, and with the most violent attitude, he rushed towards the Siren fleet in front. Along with the rapid flight, the artillery fire carried on her body began to fire forward, and a huge black hole vortex appeared in front of where the Siren fleet gathered. And this whirlpool continued to tear into the surroundings, constantly pulling the nearby Siren warships into the whirlpool. At this time, a huge beam of light spat out from its mouth, and the energy containing destructive power passed directly through the black hole, destroying all the Siren battleships that were pulled into the whirlpool. This is such a powerful force. Everyone looked at the scene in front of them, and all looked at the floating figure in amazement. No wonder his commander chose Bismarck as the overall flagship this time. Not only his strategic character, but also his strength was not weaker than any flagship. Everyone, our success or failure depends on this. Use your weapons to let these Sirens in front of us understand that this ocean always belongs to us. Attack. Yes. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Hwangming Muji. Chapter 980. The outer control center of the Eastern Core Sea area is under attack. Is the defense going as planned? The observer turned his head and looked at the Dreamweaver with his eyes closed not far away. According to plan, Dreamweaver said softly. Understood. The observer connected to the communication system, Arbiter Strankus and the tester, proceed as planned. Receive. A very obvious tester's voice came from the communication, but as for Strankus, there was no sound at all. However, it was obvious that everyone was already very familiar with Strankus' performance, so they did not answer her and had no dissatisfaction with her. Then, silence returned to the entire hall. Everything went smoothly. Bismarck couldn't believe it. Although the defensive power of this Siren fortress is very strong, much stronger than other Siren strongholds, it is still a bit awkward when faced with the main force of several camps. But the more this happened, the more surprised she was. There is no one guarding such a large fortress. There are only some executors and agents, and you can't even see the Siren's experimental mechanism. Isn't this a bit strange? Companies in the same industry also raised such questions, and not just her, even Musashi next to her didn't look good. The calmer it looks, the more abnormal it appears. In short, everyone is asked to be careful. Maybe the Siren has started some conspiracy again, Bismarck ordered. Understood. Everyone nodded quickly in response. After all, the current situation was a bit too abnormal. Although this was only the outer Siren fortress, it was really strange that there was no guard. After making these arrangements and watching the Vanguard fleet continue to move forward, Bismarck said on the public channel, "All flanking troops, please note that if you find any abnormality during the battle, no matter how big or small it is, please report it to me at any time." Soon the messages received by each flagship came from the communication. Although it sounded a bit messy, it at least made Bismarck feel relieved. "Do you suspect our flank will be attacked?" Musashi asked. "I don't know, no one can say for sure about the current situation. After all, we have entered the fortress now, but we have not encountered resistance from the elite Sirens or Arbiters. There are only this kind of executor agents, and there are mass production types. Obviously it does not meet the standards of this fortress. So I think this is because the Siren has some misguidance, making us relax before giving us a severe blow. There is nothing here about the main force. The most worrying thing is the flanking force. Although they are powerful, they are indeed far apart. If they encounter something like an Arbiter, they may cause serious losses. That's why I informed them to report to me in time whenever they find any abnormality on the sea, so that we can accurately determine whether we should retreat or continue to resist based on the information reported by them." Bismarck said. "What you said makes sense. I also think it's weird here." Just as a few people were communicating, a red light fell from the sky and landed in the fortress. And this red light made everyone's eyes involuntarily focus on the point where the light fell, and as the light disappeared, the figures of Steelenkus and the tester appeared in front of everyone. "Here it comes," Bismarck condensed and looked towards Strankus's position. A strange yet familiar sense of gravity appeared in her feeling again, which reminded her unconsciously of her time in the Pacific Ocean. Appearance. "Be careful, it's Steelenkus. Pioneer Fleet, be alert." As someone who had faced off against Steelenkus before, the company quickly reacted and immediately said in the attack channel. At this moment, several black and red blades of sword energy shot out from the separated fleet, hitting the target where the red light disappeared before. Ember takes action. As far as the eye could see, I could see these black and red blades of sword energy, splitting open the Siren fleet, blocking the way, and landed directly in front of Strankus, who looked very dark and full of intimidation. Stelankus didn't speak, he just raised his arm and used his powerful arm to directly hold the black and red sword energy. Boom! Accompanied by a violent explosion, the sword energy exploded instantly, but in the storm of explosion, Strankus stood erect and did not suffer any harm at all. Embers, the tester standing aside said with a smile. Strankus looked forward, and then her suit lit up. Indirect observers could see that he actually used the power of his legs to jump into the air, and then smashed his suit down hard. Be careful, she is going to use a weak gravitational field. All Vanguard ships, move back and be careful to avoid the barrages. A convoy suddenly appeared in the main attack channel. All the Vanguard ships were stunned for a moment, and then Bismarck's voice immediately sounded. She is the Ember Dragon, please follow her orders quickly, Bismarck said. In an instant, the Vanguard ships quickly retreated toward the rear. But at this moment, Strankus also fell down, and the huge, shining ship hit the sea. Except for all mass-produced Siren models, almost all ships felt at this moment that they were being pulled by a force and kept moving towards the place where Strankus was. And the closer this force is to Strankus, the stronger it feels. Especially the Vanguard fleet, although it is retreating now, it feels that the retreat speed is almost as fast as walking on land. And at this time, as Strankus landed, the shining light of her ship's suit spurted out an endless barrage, rushing towards the front. Everyone quickly activated protective measures, and amid the pull of the gravitational field and the barrage, almost half of the ships in the Vanguard fleet were damaged. The power of the Arbiter is clearly revealed at this moment. While the power of this gravitational field continued, Fei Long had already arrived at Bismarck's side. Today's battle is a bit difficult. The opponent not only wears recovery and transfer modules, but also wears air defense enhancement, artillery enhancement, and lightning strike enhancement modules. I suspect that she is also equipped with an overload module and a shield module, and the most important thing is the red light that just opened. According to the previous information, it should be a module called the Grand Debut. Bismarck narrowed his eyes. What do these modules do? The modules I told you earlier can be understood as corresponding enhancements. As for the recovery module, when Stelankus is present, all recovery effects on our ships will be transferred to the local body. Therefore, do not use the special skills of ships with recovery capabilities. All ships that can use emergency repair devices should use that one. As for the overload module, I haven't seen it yet, but they are some disgusting things. And the module that made the Grand Debut, if I guess correctly, is that every 10 minutes she fights with us, her strength will increase by 10%. Ah! My ship girl, my world. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 981. Musashi and others were shocked when they faced Fei Long's explanation. The Arbiter's strength was already very strong, and now it is getting stronger. How can we fight against it? Nizana, you explain to them first, and I will hold Strankus back. Fei Long did not continue to explain, threw a few words and rushed forward. Although the ships of the Vanguard fleet are now very powerful, they are still not close to facing Strankus. Because Strankus itself is the arbiter of the special attack on the Vanguard fleet, not to mention that she is now equipped with so many enhancement modules. We went to Kanglong, Scharnhorst, Yamashiro, and others who were traveling with Ember also followed Fei Long's footsteps. The figures of several people disappeared in front of everyone in an instant, and they rushed towards Arbiter Strankus directly under the gunfire. So what's going on with the loading module? Why didn't you mention it before? Musashi frowned. Nizana shook his head, because we didn't expect that those guys from the arbitration agency would actually load the main body with enhancement modules. The main body is loaded with enhancement modules. Does that mean you have encountered their clones before? Veneto asked doubtfully. Yes, Nizana nodded. The arbiters of the arbitration agency are different from the antiques of the experimental agency. They can be said to be products of iteration. Antix's consciousness exists within the host machine, which means that what appears in front of you at ordinary times is just an armed individual that appears when Antix uses the machine to carry her consciousness. The arbiter is closer to the ship. It is an individual born after using the principles of the ship to realize consciousness, construct and cultivate. Different from the ship, she does not need to respect the consciousness of history, but is more artificially shaped. In this way, there will be more room for operation and their respective growth directions. So no matter which arbiter you meet, they are all very unique. Each one has unique abilities, but they can make up for each other due to shaping reasons. Due to their characteristics, they cannot use various machines like Antix. The appearance of clones is just like the counterfeit of your ship. It is a counterfeit clone with characteristics but no consciousness. But even these clones possess power that ordinary ships cannot match. On this basis, enhancement modules can also be loaded to strengthen the power of these clones, making them far stronger than ordinary agents, reaching a level second only to the arbiter. However, because these enhancement modules will put a certain burden on the ship body, these enhancement modules are often used on replicas. This time Steelenkus brought these enhancement modules, obviously to fight with all his strength, so Fei Long just said there is some trouble. Bismarck suddenly asked, so these enhancement modules can increase its power without limit? Until the ship body can no longer bear it? No, the use of any power is not unlimited, including these enhancement modules. Just like the shocking debut of this enhancement module that you were shocked by before, although it can enhance her strength by 10% every 10 minutes, the upper limit of this module is also that's when it reaches 50%. The enhancements of some artillery and lightning enhancement modules are relatively small, which is about 30%. Although it has been relatively enhanced a lot, it is not invincible, especially under the current situation. You have met Strankus before, so there is no need for me to tell you more about some of her characteristics. She is now much more powerful than when you met her before. Don't resist any attack. Just hide if you can. It's best to let some ships with shield or smoke stunts go to deal with it. As for other attacks, people, just attack from a distance. Nizanov spoke in great detail, and these explanations could already allow Bismarck and others to understand the current situation. After all, in general, I have already understood the situation of the arbiter before, and now I am just supplementing what I have learned before. Understood, that is to say, Strankus is the arbiter of specialized attacks on vanguard ships, and does not have much influence on us main battleships, Musashi asked. No, it's just that the impact on you will be smaller, and you also know that Steelenkus has a powerful shield skill. When she finally activates it, you must concentrate on eliminating her shield, so that you can always causing effective damage to her, Nizanov said, so always listen to the information coming from the public communicator and always reserve your own stunts. Although you are not as powerful as her now, your current strength is not weak at all. As long as you concentrate your power on one point, even Steelenkus' special skills will not be able to withstand your firepower. In addition to Strankus, testers also appeared. Our strength will temporarily hold her back, so your goal is to take down the tester as quickly as possible. If we let her provide some convenience to Steelenkus in the form of support, it will be very difficult for us to carry out the subsequent battle. I know, then let us work together to win this arbiter, Bismarck nodded. The dark sword energy crisscrossed the sea surface, and countless black chains restricted the direction of Steelenkus' movement. The cannonballs filled the sky, but there was no panic expression on Steelenkus' face. She has already understood the control of regional gravity, and fighting against Ember is a common occurrence for her. Obviously there are more Embers now than before, but she is also stronger than before. A supergravity field and a weightless field have been superimposed in front of her. Every time an attack is directed at her, it will be pulled by this completely different gravity field, changing its aim and deflecting the power of the attack to the other side. Aside. I only saw countless explosions rising from around Steelenkoos. Although these explosions were enough to damage ordinary ships, to Steelenkoos, these explosions were just drizzle. The fierce battle on the field became fierce from the beginning, and the battle between Ember and the Arbiter once again started in this special world sea area. This time, the two sides no longer had any scruples. They simply stood on the standpoint of the two major forces and engaged in a duel in terms of strength. And just like what Nizanov said before, Bismarck, Musashi and others focused all their attention on the tester not far away. This is their first collaborative battle with Ember, and it is also the most critical battle in conquering the core waters of the Pacific Ocean. They will not let themselves be held back in this battle. Too many people have devoted too much energy to this battle, and they do not want to lose, nor are they willing to lose. Battlefield, I, Bismarck, am back. My ship girl, my world. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 982. While the battle was going on in Sea Area E, Qin Ji was not idle at all. Commander, what do you think of Bismarck's report? Zhenhai collected the previous reports and asked Qin Ji, who consulted the chart after hearing the report. Qin Ji looked at the sea chart and nodded. Bismarck made the right decision. After entering the sea area, I also discovered that it is impossible for us to win the sea area in a short time, so in order to maintain it, we need a long-term operation to establish sea supply lines are very important. However, it seems that the most special fortress in the sea area to be attacked and used as a supply is Bismarck. If she does this, she will be under a lot of pressure, but with her strength, she should be able to respond accordingly. But it seems a bit risky. In fact, the best thing is to proceed step by step and push forward step by step. This can solve the interference on the route and avoid the support of a large range of surrounding fortresses when attacking that special fortress. In this way, the firepower can be concentrated, and the better strategy will be blocked. It will not be necessary to bear the enemies from all directions when attacking the fortress, and then disperse the firepower. Zhenhai said. Haha, originally our attack was a very risky thing. Although I agree with what you said, Zhenhai, as a commander on the battlefield, everyone has different personalities and the decisions they make will be completely different. I cannot think that there was something wrong with Bismarck's command just because she did not make the decision we imagined. On the contrary, she must have considered her previous decision and felt that it might take more time to do so. The order I gave her at the beginning happened to be to complete the strategy on her side in the shortest possible time, so this will also have an impact. Qin Ji said apologetically. It does have an influence on this aspect. Bismarck's character, I'm worried that if they attack the special fortress, they will encounter the Arbiter, Zhenhai said. Is it normal to encounter an Arbiter? Helena on the side laughed. If it is a garrison in the sea and there is no Arbiter in it, then it would be too natural. And even if you encounter one, you don't have to worry. There are flying dragons there. They have been fighting the Arbiters for a long time. I believe that with their power, even if they encounter one or two Arbiters, there won't be much of a problem. Helena is right. Meeting the Arbiter has been a foregone conclusion from the very beginning. If Bismarck doesn't consider it, I will never believe it. So I think we can just relax now, and we should take action accordingly. After all, if the Siren feels that the attack rhythm here is relatively slow, sending more Arbiters to that side will put greater pressure on them. Qin Ji said. Are we trying to contain our forces? But according to our strength, there is no way to directly attack the Siren fortress in Sea Area A, Zhenhai said with a smile. Of course, instead of directly attacking the Siren fortress in Sea Area A, the strategy we proposed before is very feasible. That is to push forward with force, and the breakthrough direction is in the direction of Sea Area A fortress. Such an action should attract the attention of the Siren, thinking that we will also carry out the related strategy of the Siren fortress like Bismarck's side, so we will not send more Arbiters there, which can be regarded as relieving the situation. Pressure. Qin Ji said. Understood, Commander, I will convey your order to them, Jinhai responded. While watching Jinhai go about conveying the mission, Qin Ji walked to Helena and said, Helena, which arbiters do you think Bismarck is likely to encounter? It's hard to say. The agents currently distributed in the sea area are very scattered. Basically, there are agents for every arbiter. I can't be sure which arbiter we are facing now, let alone Bismarck. Which ones are faced with? But now the arbiters in this world are all old rivals. If encountering some special circumstances, I believe Bismarck is not the kind of person to act on impulse. Helena said. 2. While the two were talking, the order had been conveyed to each team, and everyone immediately chose to carry out Qin Ji's order. The small fights during this period are no longer enough to make everyone feel excited, they need a more intense battle. It only took a short time to shrink the formation, and soon everyone was ready and began to break through to the Sea Siren Fortress. The observer turned to look at Dreamweaver. Similar to the previous calculations of Laplace Demon, Commander Qin Ji chose to advance towards the Sea Area Fortress. It seems that he is using his own actions to contain our power. Dreamweaver said softly, it's time to start the mental test. Send Hermite over. Hermit's ability is not something that ordinary ships can resist. Are you sure you want to do it to a human? The observer wondered. Yes, Dreamweaver confirmed. Okay, the observer nodded and did not continue to ask. She was just reminding him and did not want to argue with Dreamweaver. For her, just executing the relevant orders is enough. In the sea area of Eve, rumbling explosions resounded throughout the sky. In the unknowing battle, there were almost no traces of Siren mass-produced battleships in this fortress. The only ones who are still on the field now, besides Strenkus and the testers, are some elite executors and agents. Moreover, the number of the two is constantly decreasing, and they are no longer able to form a hindrance to the battlefield situation. It feels like the tester is much stronger, far more than when we killed her before, Musashi said with a frown. Naturally, judging from the reports you sent back before, the body he has now is obviously stronger than that then. It should be a new type of body, so an increase in strength is inevitable. But after fighting for so long, it is not invincible. Now Yujing and the others are helping to drag Strenkus, and it's time for us to unleash our firepower. Therefore, your people must not hold back now, and eliminate the testers, and the existing executors and agents in the sea area. We cannot be affected by them in the battle later. Bismarck said. I understand, but did Nizanov just tell us to retain a certain amount of firepower? Musashi asked. What she said was to be careful of Strenkus's shield skill, but I feel that at the current pace, the battle will last for a while, and even if I have such a shield skill, I will definitely wait until I have it. Only let go when threatened. We may not have reached that time yet, so feel free to pour out firepower boldly. Let us first eliminate the enemies in this fortress, and then go back and eliminate Strenkus with them. Clear. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 983. The roar echoed across the sea and sky, and the entire Siren Fortress was divided into two major battlefields. One battlefield is the battlefield between Arbiter Strenkus and Ember Dragon, while the other battlefield is the battlefield between the ships headed by Bismarck and the testers. Although this time most of the main force was sent to the surrounding areas to blockade the fortress, there were not many people left on the main battlefield. But those who can stay on the main battlefield are some elite soldiers and generals. In addition, the Chongsakura camp had eliminated a tester before. Although the tester was wearing a new machine this time, the concept was still mostly the same as the last time. Therefore, under the guidance of Musashi and Bismarck, this battlefield has firmly gained the upper hand, and it is only a matter of time before the tester falls. Geryon, attack. I saw the huge flying dragon Shandong flying not far away from the tester with its wings, and a huge breath from its mouth sprayed directly towards the tester. Although the tester wanted to defend, attacks from other places also restrained her. Just like that, Geryon's breath sprayed directly on the tester's body, burning the body she was wearing to pieces. Tisk, the growth rate of these people is really terrifying. In just a few years, have they already reached such a level? Even those code-named monsters at the beginning of the origin are not far behind. So is this the relationship with Tianming? It's really magical. It's almost time to leave now, so let's give another grand performance. The tester looked at the burned body and couldn't help but sigh. Then a strange wave rose from her body, which made Musashi instantly alert. Attention everyone, the tester's body has reached its limit. She is now preparing to self-destruct. The vanguard fleet will stay away immediately, Musashi said hurriedly. After all, the tester's self-destruction still caused them some losses, so from the beginning, she just kept paying attention. When something strange happened to the tester, Musashi reacted quickly. Although some people were a little confused about Musashi's order, they quickly reacted, came over and retreated at high speed. Minato had previously conveyed the information that Chichisakura had eliminated testers. Obviously Musashi knew the characteristics of testers very well, otherwise he would not have said such a thing now. Just as the forward fleet was evacuating, Bismarck responded, "All main fleets, dock at a safe distance, open fire on the tester, and destroy her before she explodes. Even if she cannot be eliminated, we must slow down the consequences of her self-exposure." Power. After this order was issued, the main fleet, which had been somewhat paused, began to carry out violent output. Countless artillery shells and aircraft carrying aerial bombs exploded on and around the testers, dissipating a lot of the strange aura that spread rapidly. Seeing that their attacks were effective, everyone's output became even more violent. Even the vanguard fleet was retreating while attacking with its own naval guns. Such an attack did allow the tester to accumulate energy for a long time, allowing the vanguard fleet to retreat to a safe distance. However, the tester's self-destruction is not so easy to interrupt. Although the strange aura has dissipated a lot, it accumulates faster than it dissipates. Finally, when the critical point was reached, the tester's entire body turned into a ray of light, and then violently erupted on the sea surface of the fortress. The largest explosion caused huge waves tens of meters high in the entire sea area. Along with the energy wave of the explosion, it continued to push towards the surrounding areas. Even though the vanguard fleet had withdrawn to a safe distance, many people were still knocked down into the sea in the face of such huge waves. However, these waves came and went quickly. When the waves passed, the others quickly towed the ships that had fallen into the sea. "Report the losses of each team." Looking at the somewhat embarrassed people, Bismarck asked through the communicator. Soon the flagships of each team reported the status of their teams. Although the tester's abnormality had been anticipated early, the attack just now still caused some losses to the fleet. Fortunately, these losses are not large, and can even be said to be the lowest in the range of possibilities. After hearing the report, Bismarck breathed a sigh of relief. After all, so far, the battle has only been half, or less than half, because the energy possessed by Arbiter Strenkus is definitely not comparable to that of the testers. Especially now, the battle over there has entered a fever pitch. If I join the battle with the revised fleet, it is likely to turn the entire battle situation around. Everyone should pay attention to using the repair device to perform simple repairs. After the small pile is repaired, quickly enter the battle against Arbiter Strenkus. Answers sounded in the communicator one after another. When the war started, everyone brought maintenance equipment with them, just to deal with the scene in front of them, or some accidents that happened during the battle. Therefore, the repair process went smoothly, and it only took a short time for the fleet to be repaired. A new round of fighting also started at the same time as everyone's repairs were completed. Because most people had experience fighting Stelenkos before, after firing a few shots, they quickly adjusted the trajectory so that the shells would travel fast enough and fall within the damage range of Stelenkos. Inside. Obviously, with the addition of the fleet, the battle against Strenkus quickly gained an advantage. In particular, the offenses of Ember Dragon, Scharnhorst, and others have entered a state with a higher hit rate compared to the previous state where Strenkus had a relatively high interception rate. From time to time, the Black Sword energy struck Stelenkos's ship's suit, causing bursts of sparks. Although most of the cannonballs were still blocked by the gravity field when they landed in front of Strenkus, there were also many cannonballs that landed directly on her ship. The damage from the attack continued, and everyone saw the dawn of victory. At this moment, Strenkus suddenly jumped into the air, and then slammed into the sea. He used a weak gravitational field to temporarily force the Vanguard fleet and embers back from him, and then a crystal-like blue shield was generated above her head. Along with the creation of this blue shield, Strenkus's previously damaged ship equipment was also rapidly recovering. Everyone immediately attacks Strenkus's shield to prevent her ship from recovering, Nizanov said quickly when he saw this. Understood, everyone immediately uses their stunts and all their firepower to target Strenkus's shield. Bismarck had been waiting for this moment, and so were all the ships. A series of lightning and flame attacks were all directed at Stelenkos's shield, making the entire sea look extremely gorgeous. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 984. As the attacks poured in, the shield that looked like crystal was directly submerged in the gunfire. Such an unreserved attack made the flying dragon on the side slightly stunned. Once upon a time, she also cooperated with ships from some worlds, but the attacks of those ships were far less powerful and not as intensive as the current attacks. Maybe it's because that person is different? Fei Long could only think this way, and seeing these offensives in front of him, it would only take time to break through Stelenkos's shield. And the most important thing is that most of the attacks they have made so far have been containment, and the main output has been given to Qin Ji's ships, which is naturally part of the plan. Such thoughts only lasted for a moment. Soon, cracks appeared in Strenkus's shield. As the cracks gradually expanded, finally after a burst of attacks, her entire shield series opened. Come. Now, keep this attack rhythm. After Stelenkos's shield breaks, there will be a short period of weakness. At this time, her gravitational field and gravity field cannot be used, so now is the best stage to attack. Nizanov watched the shield shatter and said quickly through the communicator. Understood, everyone, target Arbiter Strenkus, attack with all your strength. Bismarck's voice sounded in the communicator, and even though he was as calm as her, there was a hint of excitement at the moment. This was the first head-on duel between their port fleet and the Arbiter, and this was after the Arbiter had been strengthened. If they win this battle, they will have greater confidence in the subsequent battles, and it can also help them successfully establish a foothold in this peripheral sea area and advance towards the core of the Pacific Ocean at a faster speed. And more importantly, the result of the quick recommendation is that it can support Qin Ji's fleet faster. Her commander trusted her too much. Faced with this trust, Bismarck felt that she should seize every possible opportunity. As the target of the cannonballs changed, a large number of cannonballs directly hit Strenkus's hull. Although her gravity field and gravitational field lost the possibility of control, it did not mean that the gravity surrounding her the field disappeared, but some shells still fell to the water around her. But even so, the attack carried out in this short period of time has made Strenkus's ship equipment somewhat unbearable. It can even be clearly seen that cracks have appeared in some links, and the entire hull has been in the middle. It's in a broken state. As the weakened state passed, Strankus resumed manipulating the gravity field to fight. However, everyone can clearly feel that this time there is a significant difference from the pressure they felt initially. She seems to be a lot weaker, Musashi said keenly. Didn't Nizuna just say that loading these enhancement modules can improve his own combat effectiveness, but these enhancement modules also require energy to operate. When the hull is under such a strong attack, it will certainly not be able to provide energy as before. The pressure given by these enhancement modules is not as strong as before, which is inevitable. And I think as the current battle continues, this state will become more and more obvious. This is our opportunity. If we defeat her, it means we are one step closer to the core of the Pacific and to the commander. Bismarck explained. Indeed, I'm looking forward to the commander seeing our expressions again, and we will definitely not let down such a powerful force by letting us command. We will definitely not let down such trust, Musashi said with a smile while attacking. Not just commander, if we win this time, it will definitely be a great boost to morale, Veneto said. Yes, but the attack is still important now. All expectations should be left after this battle. Strankus on the opposite side is attacking again. Everyone, pay attention. Richelieu was unfazed and was not at all affected by the situation in front of him. Affected, he said very seriously in the communicator. Everyone nodded tacitly, and soon turned their attention to Strankus. As they adapted to Strankus' attacks, the frequency of emergency repair tools used by the ships became significantly less frequent. Moreover, the Vanguard fleet mainly focuses on harassment, leaving the entire output responsibility to the main fleet. The hit rate of the main fleet obviously improved a lot as the battle continued. Soon, Steelenkus deployed a second shield. This was what everyone was waiting for. All the stunts and artillery fire poured down, like raindrops, hitting the shield cut open by Steelenkus. Soon, cracks appeared on Steelenkus's shield. The speed was much faster than before. This was obviously because Steelenkus's endurance became weaker and the energy consumption in his body increased, and combined with everyone is familiar with her attack methods. Very good, that's it. As long as we seize the opportunity later, we can seriously injure her, Nizuna said excitedly. Although she also knew the inside story of this matter, her performance was different from Filong and others. People are completely different. It cannot be said that he likes Qin Ji, his current commander, from the bottom of his heart. The real reason is probably the iron-blooded acceptance here and the excitement brought by fighting with Bismarck. For her, nothing seemed more exciting than this. Well, if everyone keeps working hard, victory is in sight, Bismarck nodded and said, commanding his Geryon to approach and launch a full attack posture. As the shield shattered again, as expected, Arbiter Strankus stiffened. At this moment, the firepower did not weaken at all. When the witnesses saw that her ship body was almost unable to withstand the attack, a green light flashed from Steelenkus's body, and then the cracked ship armor quickly began to recover. What is this? Bremerton, who was standing at the front, naturally saw the scene clearly in his eyes, and his eyes suddenly flashed with disbelief. Why did her ship suit actually start to recover on its own? Isn't this equivalent to all the previous fights being in vain? Don't be surprised, this is her endurance overload module. When the damage to the hull reaches a certain limit, the endurance overload module will be activated to repair a large amount of hull damage in a short period of time to maintain its combat effectiveness at a certain level. Embers Arizona explained. Doesn't that mean we can never defeat her? Joseo asked doubtfully. The overload module has a limit. It can only be triggered once per battle, so if the damage control recovery is used this time, it will be gone. Don't worry about it triggering it a second time, Arizona said again. You can attack with confidence, she'll be fine, but it's very possible that she's equipped with other overload modules, so be careful. Yes.